After a grueling fight with Goku in the Saiyan Saga, we're here with Vegeta to ask... Sorry, let me get on his level. You're a little guy, Mr. Vegeta. So, Vegeta, how did you get away from Goku's... Don't bark at me! How'd you get away from Goku's attack?
I just left.
It seems a little too easy.
I just left.
You heard it here, folks. He just left. Don't forget, Vegeta took this all-time savage beating and walked away with a 2-second tummy ache and not much else. This despite all these shots being taken directly to the spine. Look, I'm not gonna bend over backwards to explain why that's some grade SSJ bullshit, because I want to speed through a few observations and get to the action. Like, ever notice how much more monkey-like Vegeta looks when he comes back down? That's because we go from his tail being wrapped to now it's out and waving. His massive rounded ears, which help give him a bit of a monkey appearance, were prominent before now, but they stand out even more once the tail starts swinging. Also, it looks like they draw his head and chin a little bit smaller to give him a more chimpy look.
I just realized that someone has conveniently removed the moon. Well, it doesn't matter. We have our ways. As a matter of fact, it was your genius father who invented this little technique.
We have this infamous liberty taken with the ocean dub.
My father? We ran into some radical weaponry on Rigol 7, and things were looking grim until your father did this. Your father was an average fighter, but he was a brilliant scientist!
I know a lot of fans hate it, for good reason, but I actually do like the dramatic irony. When I first heard the line as a kid, it gave me the impression that Goku would eventually dive more into that history in a way that hits a bit closer to home than the Bardock story eventually does for Goku. Once you know the line was a complete fabrication by the dub, I do get why people hate it, but I gotta say, I think there was more storytelling potential here than what we actually ended up getting. Another interesting note, this one about Japanese culture at large. They've long had quite the fascination with freak show fights. That being fights involving more regular Joe types against behemoths, or two behemoths squaring off. Before MMA, it wasn't unheard of for a giant from overseas named Andre to fight a Japanese pro wrestling icon named Inoki. It was probably with this giant versus little guy fascination in mind that Toriyama decided to frequently delve into the massive monster versus fighter well, time after time. This particular freak show fight, pitting Goku against the horror of his ancestry, a horror he never even knew about, would be the final real freak show fight in Dragon Ball. Gohan was less of a fight and more of a 2-second plot advancer, and the less said about grand tummy ache, the better. Last thing, Vegeta's second nostril is gone. The shadow probably shouldn't be there, and the shadow is so thin it doesn't seem to fit. So what we're left with is an inverted vagina, where the super sensitive upper hood is at the bottom. Listen, I can't do a side-by-side on YouTube, but we all know what that is. Let this badass image, evocative of werewolf, be forever tainted by vagina nose. If you like what you've been hearing so far, don't forget, give a like, sub if you haven't, and give a comment. Get this video going in the algorithm as much as possible so we can grow this channel. Next episode. The title card shows the crystal ball is working, giant monkey Vegeta featuring prominently inside. This exchange between Krillin and Gohan, it's only important to show just so we aren't surprised when they end up appearing later to help. But now that I rewatched it, the voice acting and line delivery significantly stunted in several spots.
You can make it! Come on!
Yeah! I can tell we're getting closer now, Krillin.
I don't remember that light being there before, but Piccolo completely destroyed the moon.
That's where Dad is!
We also have the line here that early internet legend and meme lord Kageto-kun used quite liberally as a way to reference Erector.
Now he's really getting huge!
I hope my body can take it. All right, I'm ready.
Now he's really huge! Please hold together, buddy. Uh-oh!
I better watch all these public references to certain body parts before YouTube sets this video to private. Freak show fight time. It starts with a fist almost blotting out the fake moon, then crushing the spot where Goku just stood. The way he has his arm and leg out always made me think of Liu Kang's flying kick, even though he's going the wrong way. Vegeta's giant face taking up the entire background, that's something we should keep note of. It's a great way to impart how frighteningly, physically imposing he is. Another great touch is the way his eyes go from being open normally to widening even further as he prepares to strike. The eyes are so big, it makes me as a viewer feel overwhelmed. Like he's coming for me after
Getting huge!
Kind of funny seeing Goku frame by frame sort of fall towards us to escape impact. Almost like the action's coming towards us. There's a brief second of reprieve. Camera looks down at him, and that's great for turning him into a glorified ant who's barely able to avoid a squashing. Honestly, someone went and really flexed their cinematography muscles, really working with camera angles and framing in order to give this vibe to us. What I want to point out is the way the drawings inspire certain senses. Like here, Goku is caught between several rock faces, closed in, yet up ahead is open sky. There's a sense of freedom just out of reach. Always confused me why Goku thought he could hide behind this so close to Vegeta. It does push the horror movie vibe, so my guess it was a style over substance choice. It's also one of those shots where it's so obvious what's going to happen because the rocks are clearly drawn in a more dynamic style, implying they're about to be broken. Back to senses. Yet again, they play with having Vegeta's giant face go from off-screen to taking up the entire screen in a matter of seconds. It's a great way to get a sense of suffocating claustrophobia, a sense of inescapable dread for our hero. The second it looks like he has space, visually, we have Vegeta occupy it. There is no reprieve. It's a series of dodges, barely made at the last second. 1 second where it appears Goku has room and space, the next, show him right up against the rocks, hardly an inch to maneuver. Again, he falls toward the audience to seek refuge, which I think does a great job of helping the audience feel like the action is constantly marching towards us as well. 1 second here, he has space to run. The next, look down. Frame him with the ground taking up the entire background. He can fly up, but visually we aren't allowed to see any space, which is made worse when he comes right up against a ton of rocks blocking his path forward. And I bet you can guess what part of the background is going to be destroyed any second. Even when we get a shot of Goku, nothing but open space behind him, it's so close up to Goku that we still feel that claustrophobia. Again, by playing with camera angles and framing of characters, we're not allowed to feel that sense of freedom or openness or relief. We're meant to feel closed in because it is a desperate chase.
Goku, on the night of a full moon, a giant monster ape comes out and does truly terrible things. You must beware.
Really interesting moment. We get to hear the ocean dub Grandpa Gohan, and Goku realizes what a terror he had been as a kid.
And stay far from the monster's power. For Goku, we wouldn't want you to get hurt.
Now I see. He's the one responsible for destroying the martial arts stadium. Yeah, and he's the one who stomped on all those innocent people and stepped on my grandfather.
Yes, Goku. Vegeta came to Earth, kicked the shit out of the Budokai building, and went home. This one's indefensible as far as dub rewrites go. How did none of the people in charge go, dude, this is the first time the Saiyans ever came to Earth outside Goku. There's no way he'd be this stupid. The only way that Goku drawing this conclusion makes any sort of sense, even theoretically, is if he's purposely lying to himself in order to psych up and ignore his fear. But that's clearly not the case. They just dubbed him to be this stupid in this moment. And unfortunately, it is not the stupidest thing in this Monkey Vegeta fight, but we'll get to that. For the first time, Vegeta really goes wild with multiple strike attempts in a row, and that prompts a show of acrobatics. Those of you who saw my last episode know I really enjoyed Yajirobe in it, but he delivers this line fairly rough as well.
What a monster! And that outfit! I think I recognize that outfit. Yeah! It belongs to Vegeta. And his power is so great, it must be Vegeta!
What happened to all the great voiceover work that we've been seeing this whole time? Damn, maybe they were running out of time to dub and had to rush this episode. I don't know.
I've got something to give him that he'll wish he had never seen. The power of a triple strike!
Wow. Yeah, they butchered this shit. But let's take some heat away from the dub and put it back on the original.
I hope you're able to control the strike, Goku!
Holy Jesus. What is that? What the fuck is that?
What did he think? Being out in the open here would allow him time to gather energy. After Goku falls out of the dumbass tree, Vegeta branches out to kicks and plants Goku in the ground. To escape being pancaked,
Kaioken attack!
Kaioken gets brought out. Unfortunately, after getting tail whipped, Goku's defense is lowered way down. Battered and reeling, this makes it easy for Vegeta to land a brutal kick.
You're finished!
He's incredibly fast for someone so big. I don't have the time I need to concentrate so I can form a fighting spirit bomb. Even if a Kaioken attack is 5 times stronger, I won't defeat him.
The episode takes time to frame the problem. Goku wants to make a spirit bomb, but he doesn't have time. This shot inspires an idea, and it's the second dumbest fucking idea possible. Again, this is all at Toriyama's feet. The same character who comes up with this pre-Ultra Instinct A+ headbutt reaction buys himself time. And he can fly anywhere, hide anywhere. Yet he lands in a wide-ass open area. I mean, I can buy that he somehow doesn't realize the tail can be cut off here if I'm being extremely generous. But realistically, the fact that this idiot doesn't just cut off the tail, oh, Jesus. That's really kind of it. He has a moment of zen to gather spirit bomb energy, focuses it, prepares to throw.
Got it!
Get this!
Before getting blasted by the worst case of monkey breath ever experienced on Earth. The spirit bomb energy fades, and it seems all hope is gone. All energy seems to be gone. The man can hardly keep his eyes open. Goku manages one last pity pirouette dodge before getting backhanded into a rock wall, and then... You know, Goku, when they say to stay light on your feet in order to dodge, this probably isn't what people meant. Ugh. Just seeing that giant finger always makes me feel uncomfortable. It makes me paint the image of Goku being squished into gore in my head.
I just can't believe this is it.
Great touch to show us our soon-to-be dead hero's blurring vision. They're literally putting us into his visual shoes. And I don't think they do anything like this again in the rest of the series. Again, early DBZ did a lot of really cool, unique shit like this, playing with visuals in artsy or cinematic ways. I wonder where this creativity went. Speaking of getting creative... On the verge of death, Goku, the guy who couldn't figure out to hide or cut off Vegeta's tail, remembers he's not a moron and blasts an eye into oblivion. Ocean even broke out the ketchup packets for this one. And now Goku is officially spent. The meters run dry on his energy reserves, and all he is a helpless toy. A helpless squishy toy, as shown in the real-life Dragon Ball documentary, Dragon Ball Z Abridged. As far as the giant Vegeta monkey fight goes, it is now over. Vegeta's just gonna squish his ass, and we have to hope for help to arrive. But will it? We'll find out next time. I mean, let's face it, you already know, but we'll find out next time as we draw ever closer to the finale of this epic Vegeta battle. One thing I do want to mention is it always bothered me that the Vegeta fight doesn't end with the beam struggle. It felt like that should have been the end, but there is also a lot of really great stuff that occurs afterwards. Goku standing out in the open and not cutting off tail, the stupidity of that notwithstanding, there is still a lot of really cool stuff, including Gohan getting to step up against a severely drained and damaged Vegeta. Krillin getting a moment to really shine as someone who, like Goku, has been a martial arts expert for basically his entire life, and he gets to put that into practice. He's the one guy that Goku can trust in this moment. And it's really cool getting to see someone besides Goku coming up huge in the biggest, most crucial moment of a giant boss fight. I'd like to give a quick shout out, of course, to all my usual commenters and subs. If you like what you've been hearing so far, don't forget, give a like, sub if you haven't, and give a comment. Get this video going in the algorithm as much as possible so we can grow this channel. So what else have I got to say? Sorry for the delay on this one, folks. I had kind of started work on a completely different video, and then I realized I should maybe put up a fan vote, and then having to kind of reset my wires on that, it just delayed me a little bit. I kind of just enjoyed life. Low-key, I'm not kidding. The Barbie movie was surprisingly amazing. I mean, I'm as shocked as you. Like, they didn't have to put out nearly as much effort on that. I know there's a lot of people out there that hate it, talking about feminism and bashing men and whatnot, but if you haven't seen it, and you do end up seeing it to get some bonus points with the girlfriend or the wife or whatever, they actually take a lot of time to empathize with them and show that the Barbies are wrong in that movie in a lot of ways, and they literally end up having to apologize to the Kens, but I'm starting to give the movie away at this point. Just point being, it was a good-ass movie. Swear to God, I actually want to do a Barbie movie review. But first, we got to finish the Vegeta fight. I promise, we're going to finish that first. So that's up next. More Vegeta, Gohan, Krillin, they're coming in. I'm going out. Peace. It gave me the impression that Goku would I knew he was going to fucking do that to me. Second nostril is gone. Yeah, it's covered in shadow, but man, they've long be forever. Title card shows the This exchange between Krillin and Gohan is only important to show This exchange between Krillin and This exchange between Krillin and Gohan is only important to show that pity pirouette dodge before getting backhanded into a rock wall and